setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge on a Sunday morning. So this morning I'm taking off my accountant business advisory hat and I'm putting on my clergy hat. So in my clergy hat, I felt that it was time that we talked about this obsession that we have with hate. We see hate every single place where we go. We see it on the internet. We see it on television. We see it from coming out of Congress. We see it coming from the far left and the far right. We see it bombarding us every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we get angry ourselves, and we begin to stomp around and call other people names and telling them that they're racist and telling them that they're fascist and telling them that, and all kinds of names are used, except the word love. I saw a quote from Will Smith. Now, I didn't ever think I would be quoting Will Smith, but here I go, because I thought it was such a dynamic quote that we probably should put it into practice every single day that we're alive. He says, throughout life, people will make you mad, disrespect you, and treat you bad. Let God deal with the things they do, because hate in your heart will consume you too. It's a very wise quote, because we are seeing hate consuming people's thought process and the way that they conduct their lives. We have left God to the side, it seems. Many people do not believe in a God, or they don't believe in a higher being. They've put all that thought process to the side because their political hate has consumed them, or their personal hate has consumed them, or their religious hate has consumed them. Hate consumes. It never makes anything better. It never solves any problems. It just gets worse. As we saw on last Monday, where so many Americans fell from gunshot. We saw so many Americans feel the power of hate of one person. And when you are consumed, and if you are surrounded by hate 24 hours a day, coming out of people out of Congress who are hating this and hating that, and then you have individuals of religious sects throughout the world hating us so badly, and we're having hate thrown at us every single day, your heart becomes hateful, and evil takes over. Evil looks for hate. And that one person that has so much hate, that is the person that evil is going to pounce upon and use them to destroy other people's lives. The more hate that you have in your heart, the more you are susceptible to evil taking control of your life, to have you making bad decisions, to have you calling other people names, becoming violent against people. Evil loves hate because they know that that is a weak heart right there, because they were able to take hate and completely destroy all their other common sense thought factors or even spiritual thought factors and put them to nowhere, completely destroy them because hate consumed them. And we have got to get away from this. If leaders of this country have so much hate for each other, it spills over to the remainder of us affected by their words, their actions, their deeds. In Ephesians 4:31, it says, Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. We are commanded by our God to get rid of hate. And yet we are consumed with it every single day of our lives. God also said in Proverbs 8:13, to fear the Lord is to hate evil. I hate pride and arrogance, evil behavior, and perverse speech. We have so much evil behavior going on and perverse speech. It's on the internet, it's on the social websites, it's on television, it's in our newspapers. Everywhere we turn, we are consumed with hate. And that spark of hate builds up into a firehouse burning to death because it consumed us. It took control. Evil stepped in and said, I have you now, and I will use you for how I want to use you. I will use you to destroy people's lives, to commit murder, to make people feel belittled, to slander people with words. I know that you've got hate. I'm taking control of you. That's how evil works. We have got to get away from this evil behavior that every one of us are beginning to have in our hearts, because we have a hate around us all day long. I love to get inspired. Yesterday I watched a video, and the video was about two guys who every end of the month Thursday gives free haircuts to all those who cannot afford it. These are older people. These are people who are living on fixed income. They have lost everything. And yet these two men took one day off a month and helped out their community. If you and I were to focus more on our communities, more on our families, more on the people that surround us, our world would be a much better place. All that hate that's out there will go away. Oh, there'll be a little bit there because evil loves to dominate. And he tries so hard to get you and me. But if we get involved in our communities and in our family, in our schools, and start to make a difference in other people's lives by just doing one simple thing, and that is to love and to give back. We have got to get that sense of community back. It's got to be within us. I bet a lot of you don't even know your neighbors that live next door to you. You may not even know the people that you work with. Because we have become such shallow people that it has become all about us. All about our needs. I love to see a sense of community where people come together. Look what happened in Texas. Those individuals got in their boats and they got their canoes and whatever they did to go out and help other people. Excuse me. I tell you, that is love. That is not hate. You didn't see anybody out there complaining. You didn't see anybody out there putting the other person down with words, verbal assaults. What you saw was a community pulling together and doing one thing, and that's loving their neighbor and trying to help them. That's when hate went out the door. Hate could not even be found because people were focused on the love of their community. the love of their neighbor, the love of their family members. Life has changed, hasn't it? I remember in growing up, even when I was in Seattle as a child, we had this real sense of community where the neighborhoods would get together. They would chat, they would have coffee, they would bake pies, and we had really great apple pies up in Seattle because state of Washington apples, best apples in the world. But there was that sense of community where everybody came together to help each other. If their child needed to get to school, they would take their neighbor's child and help them to get to school. If a person was sick with the flu, the neighbor would come over with a bowl of soup and help them. I remember that so vividly. We have moved so far away from that sense of community, that sense of God, that sense of faith, that sense of belief, that sense of love. We can destroy hate. You and I, we can do a lot. We can fight hate straight on by just serving our community, by loving. I hear so many complaints all the time about people saying, oh, it's so racist and all this. And I always turn it around and said, what have you done to make your community a better community? Oh, it makes them mad. But my point is, you know what? You can say people are racist. You can call people names. You can call them bigots. You can call them white supremacists. But what have you done personally to make your community better? What have you done to make your school better? Have you taken one child, adopted them for a year while they're in school, and tutored them, helped them get through the process? Families are so busy that sometimes other family members cannot help within their own children's homework. I encourage you, adopt a child to tutor. Several years ago, we had a nonprofit organization out in Loma Linda, California, that serviced the San Bernardino community. And the service was called Excel. And what we did is we adopted one child for one school year and tutored that child throughout the whole year. And the tutors were people from all walks of life. They were nurses, they were accountants, they were bookkeepers, they were janitors. They were all from all walks of life, but they knew that if they spent 1 year with one child, they could make a difference. That program became such a success that schools wanted those tutors to come in and help. Because you had families who did not speak any English and could not help them with their homework. They could not help their children with homework because they did not know how to read or write English. It made a difference. To this day, those children who went through that Excel program went on to high school, went on to college, and are now giving back into their communities. You see how love changes? Getting involved in a community changes a community, or changes one life. If you can change just one life, then you have done a great service to this nation. Stop calling people names, but get involved in your community. If you think that your police are bad and that they are attacking your people in your community, you need to sit down and talk with a police officer. Get an organization together where a police officer comes in once a week. Keep the dialogue and the communication open. Demonstrations do no good. They just create more steam and more heat and more anger. The people in your community deserve better, and you can provide them with better. Don't rely upon politicians because they're worthless. They will not give you anything. because all they want is your vote. But if you do it out of love, out of your heart to help your community, your communities will become better. We need to get rid of all this hate and replace it with something more positive by getting involved every single day. So I encourage you, pray about it. Pray about how you can get involved in your community and make a difference in even just one life. If you can touch one life, you are truly blessed. So that's my sermon for today. Get up. Get out of your seats. Get out of your comfortable zones and do something worthwhile in your community with love so that we can replace it with love and replace hate with love. We got to knock this hate out of our hearts. You and I are not going to agree politically every single day. But we can agree on one thing, and that is to get involved in our communities in love. That is how we must move forward. Forget about what all the politicians are saying. If you hear hate coming out of them, or if you hear them blaming other people or pointing fingers, turn the television off or turn the radio off, because you don't need to hear it. They are going to destroy themselves. Their hate for their nation and for their people are going to destroy themselves. Don't let it destroy you. Kick hate to the side. Start rethinking your core beliefs and think about how you can make a difference instead of how you always want to complain about other people. It's worthless. Hate is worthless. It just causes more hate. Put your political views to the side and get involved in your communities. Get involved in your churches. If you haven't been to church in a while, get to church. Especially on this day, after we have had this shooting, today is the most important time for you to go to church and sit in that pew and bow your head and say, Lord, remove this evil that is eating up America. Today is the most important day for churches to open their doors to everybody and say, come and pray. Because if there's more than one praying, we can get a whole lot done. We can move mountains. We can go through the mountain, over the mountain, under the mountain. We can get through it together as a community. Get involved in your churches and pray. So I leave you today with the hope and the prayer that you will change hate into love, and that love to help your community, and for you to sit and pray in church today and ask that hate be removed from this nation. And pray for those individuals who died and who were hurt in Las Vegas this week. Let healing come into their hearts and their minds and into their bodies. And may a nation also have that same blessing from God, that we remove our hate and we get involved. So I hope every one of you today has a great Sunday. If you have anything that you need prayer about, if you have a prayer need, send me an email at mlodge, MLODGE, at lodge-co.com, and I'll put you on my prayer list for today. I always have a long prayer list when I go to church on Sunday. And I love that communication and that feeling, that because I know that God is going to hear those prayers and give a new direction. So if you have a prayer request, don't hesitate to send me an email at mlodge, M-L-O-D-G-E, at lodge, L-O-D-G-E-co.com. So that's my clergy hat for this Sunday. Usually I'm talking about taxes and business and politics, because we try to use this forum as a educational way to help you learn more and more each day. So I hope that we've learned something good today, and that is, let's get rid of this hate. Get involved, people. Have a great Sunday.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
Wow.